We're messy. We are put together in a way that is complex and messy and cannot be separated. Our parts cannot be separated. We have to be a whole being. So it makes sense that learning to trust our gut and our gut decisions is part of leaning into our authenticity, not just going, oh, well, that doesn't make sense, it's not logical, and not following it. Because if it's coming from your scared ego, that is not an empowered place to make a decision. Empowered, intuitive decisions can only come from our future authentic self. The person we're trying to be, the person that my whole channel is about stepping into. Hello, ladies. One of the questions that I get probably the most often is, how do you know if you're making a good decision? How do you trust your gut? How do you follow your intuition? And how do you know if it's intuition or just fear? So let's dive into this today and talk about how to make a good, intuitive decision. Now, there's actually a surprising amount of science behind the term gut decision, right? The term's been around for a long time. You feel it in your gut, you make a gut decision, you have a gut reaction. And it turns out that you actually have neurotransmitters throughout your whole body, especially in your gut too. So your brain isn't just sitting up here. Your brain actually extends through your whole body, and your whole body is part of your brain. And one interesting thing about gut decisions is researchers have started to notice that people on the autism spectrum, they will have different gut flora than people not on the autism spectrum. So there's all sorts of theories and possibilities right now and ideas about whether or not that could factor in and be part of why the brain works differently. Anyways, so that was a little bit of a side note. So your brain does extend through your whole body. It's not like you have your mind and your body and they're separate entities like we like to think about it. It's not that clean. It's not that, precise, that clean cut. We're messy. We are put together in a way that is complex and messy and cannot be separated. Our parts cannot be separated. We have to be a whole being. So it makes sense that learning to trust our gut and our gut decisions is part of leaning into our authenticity, not just going, oh, well, that doesn't make sense, it's not logical, and not following it. So instead of just making decisions based on logic, we need to start leaning into our intuition. But so many of us have shut off our intuition from the time that we were small. We have these ideas, we have knee-jerk reactions, we have gut reactions when we're small, but we're told it doesn't make sense or it's not logical. And so we learn to sort of silence that voice and deaden that part of us and try to just keep it thinking up here, logical, almost like a computer. And that can actually lead to a life that is very sterile and very boring and not at all authentic to who we are. And if we try to just be logical about our decisions, we can end up getting ourselves into some bad situations because we're not trusting that intuitive voice. So how do we tune back into that intuition? How do we start listening to our bodies again and what they're trying to tell us? How do we hear that inner voice, that gut feeling? Well, today I want to walk you through 3 simple exercises to do that can help you understand if what you're feeling is a gut reaction and if it's an intuition that should be followed. All right, now the first exercise, we are going to be seeing if a decision that we're thinking about making fills us with fear or if it fills us with love. And what does fear feel like in your body? Like for a second, imagine there's a spider that crawls out in front of you, right? What does it feel like? It's sort of this tightening, right? This intense tightening, pulling yourself in, becoming small, tensing, fight or flight, adrenaline. There's a pressure there. There's a have to make it happen. There's a force to it, right? The fear has this sort of force to it. Okay, now think about love. What does love or joy feel like? Think about walking on the beach with somebody you love. Think about reading a good book. Think about dancing in your socks in the kitchen. I mean, something that brings you joy and love. What does that feel like in here? Is it the same tight feeling? No, it's loose and it's open, and it's like your heart is more open and even expanded almost beyond you, right? It's flowy and it's soft. The feelings of joy, instead of there being the same force feeling with fear, like the fight or flight, have to get it done, have to make something happen, joy and love has a more, you can lean into it and accept it. And it's an accepting and welcoming in. You're drawing things into you, but not in a tense way. It's being open to the feeling, open to the experience, and truly leaning into it and receiving everything that it has. All right, now how does that relate to the decision we're going to make? Well, I want you to think about fear as small and tight, right? It's that small, tight force feeling. And joy or love as loose and open and receptive. So think in your mind about the decision that you're about to make. Slow down your breathing, get in touch with your body. It's not going to work if you're up here. You have to sink down into your body first. Now from this place in your body, I want you to place your hand over your heart and think about the decision you're going to make. And ask yourself, does this feel small and tight? Or does this feel warm and loose and open? Another wording I've heard some other people, Marie Forleo I think is who I heard call it, contracted or expansive. Does this feel contracted or does this feel expansive? Breathe into that. Don't try to force the answer, just wait and see what is your instant reaction. Like, what's the word you hear in your head? What's the instant feeling that you have? Does it feel tight or does it feel open? The feeling, the decision that you're trying to make, does it feel forceful in a desperate, have to make it happen, have to run away from it feeling? Because that is fear, that's adrenaline, and that is fight or flight. If your gut is giving you that sort of a reaction, that is not an empowered place to make a decision from. So this first exercise, asking, does it feel small and tight and contracted, or does it feel loose and open and expansive? All right, the second way to tell if a decision that you're going to make based on your gut reaction is coming from empowered intuition or if it's coming from fear is to step into your future self for a minute. So picture yourself a year from now in the future that you want to have as the person that you want to be. And now, looking back on this decision now, ignore everything you feel about it right now from the point of you in the future. I want you to think back to now and say, is this what got me here? Like, is this what got me here? That will help you figure out if it's your authentic self that's saying to move this forwards, or whether this decision is coming from your scared ego. Because if it's coming from your scared ego, that is not an empowered place to make a decision. Empowered, intuitive decisions can only come from our future authentic self. The person we're trying to be. The person that my whole channel is about stepping into. So that's number 2. It's the second way you can tell if your decision is fear-based or intuition-based, is Step into your future self and say, is this decision what got me here? Nap time is over. Okay, so the third way that you can tell if a decision that you're trying to make is based on fear or if it's based on intuition, if it feels like it's coming from your gut, is to get down deep in your body, close your eyes, think about the decision you're making, think about the feeling you're feeling, and ask yourself, how old is the me that's feeling this way? How old is the me that's wanting to make this decision? And usually the first answer that pops in your mind, that's the answer you want to roll with. Because here's the thing, sometimes our intuition is just fear. That is one of our wounded inner children screaming at us. And if we're coming from that place, that is our wounded ego, that is our wounded inner child. She is not able to make a good decision. She is not going to speak to us from a place of empowered intuition, from a place of safety, from a place of expansion. So if you sit down and you say, okay, how old is the part of me that is making this decision? And you get the answer 9. Well, that is a fear-based decision, and that is not intuition. That is ego rearing its head and screaming, wait, 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 wait. We don't want to do that because of whatever fears the 9-year-old inside you has. So if that's the answer you get, then you might try to do some inner child work. That's when I will sink in and talk to her and be like, okay, I understand you're safe now. I have you now. I'm the adult now. And you're not in charge. You don't get to make the decisions anymore. I will make the decisions and I will keep us safe, but thank you, I see you, I hear you, I love you, and see if you can get her to kind of calm down. If you go in and you get the answer that the you that wants to make this decision is your age now, or at least an adult age, or even an age that you are not yet, like an age that you will be in the future, that is coming from an empowered, intuitive place that says, yes, I am an adult, I am safe, I am in charge of my own decisions, and this decision is my intuition saying this way. This is my gut saying, go this way and choose this choice. So those are my 3 top tips for you if you are trying to decide whether a decision that you're going to make, a choice you're trying to make, is being made based on fear or intuition. If it feels like it's coming from your gut, it could be fear or it could be intuition. Thumbs up? Please like this video. It's going to help other women just like you to find me. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment below and let me know which of these 3 exercises helped you to discern a gut decision, whether it was fear-based or empowered intuition. I will see you next time. I should have written it down when I had it, but I didn't, and now it's gone again.